Dread, devastation, and utter hopelessness are just a few of the words that can be used to describe the horror that Shin Godzilla is. A creature with one purpose: humanity's annihilation. The 31st Toho entry into the Godzilla series was released in 2016, and what it offered was something far more sinister than ever before. Yes, I'm talking about the god of destruction, Shin Godzilla. According to the movie, there are a total of 4 different stages of evolution, although the Art of Shin Godzilla and several other official publications say otherwise. You see, it seems like the 4th form was merely a beginning, or rather just an adolescent form of the monster, and so Godzilla would continue to evolve to even more insane levels, or rather forms. In concepts, a total of 8 forms exist, but forms 6, 7, and 8 are purely speculation on the part of scientists in a journal. Well, actually, Form 5 is still theoretical too, but again, it does have some validity in what was seen on the screen. So with that being said, let's just find out what each form of the most frightening kaiju, Shin Godzilla, has to offer. Form 0. Before we jump into the first form, it should be noted that Shin started off as a sea creature, one who was later mutated by feeding on nuclear waste dumped into Tokyo Bay in the 1950s. I call it Form 0, and this is what actually gave this small sea creature the unusual ability to mutate its own DNA and rapidly evolve itself to adapt to new situations. First form. So, introducing you to the actual Shingoji way of life, we arrived at the first form. Now, this initial form only revealed a tail briefly at the start of the film. As we saw in the movie, the tail was pretty huge, especially for a tail. And in terms of the details, it had a somewhat yellow hue and was fairly ragged at the end. As for the reason why we only saw the tail of Shin sticking out of the ocean in the first form, well, the thing's pretty simple. It actually lacked the physical or physiological prerequisites to survive on land, as many aquatic creatures do. For example, even aquatic mammals such as whales are crushed by their own weight if they even attempt to make landfall. So this very same principle even applies for the first form of Shin Godzilla. Second form. Height 92 feet, length 400 feet. As you can see here, the second form is quite similar to a moray eel or a frilled shark in appearance. In comparison to the unseen first form, Shin Godzilla can be seen sporting a long body, neck, and tail, as well as stubby, undeveloped hind legs for easing its movement on land. Kamata-kun also has projections on its chest that are proven to be underdeveloped arms. Unlike Shin Goji's later forms, this second form has a morbid yellow complexion, red exposed muscle on its back, and shark-like gills that frequently bleed, indicating that it struggles to breathe outside of the ocean. Also, just like its other body parts, Kamata-kun's dorsal plates are undeveloped, and the way it moves around is oddly remarkable, as we saw it wiggling on its belly and pushing itself forward with its stubby hind legs and thrashing its tail. Shin's second form is actually very much similar to a toddler because it's simply too weak to stand. Third form. Height 187 feet, length 552 feet. Announcing his successful mutation to the third form is Shinagawa-kun, who has finally become bipedal now, having stronger, more developed hind limbs and also the ability to assume a stance similar to that of modern Godzilla. Its forelimbs are short and a fairly long neck in comparison to its body. Now, despite the fact that it's bipedal in this form, its legs aren't really completely matured yet. So you can see Shin's legs wobbling, and it struggled quite a bit not to fall while walking. However, having said that, its legs were soon improved to the point that it could move quickly enough to run, as opposed to the second form slithering and third form's first stumbling. Taking a step aside from the second form, the shift in look from this form changed Shin Goji's skin tone to a dark orangey red, with the exposed muscles transforming from red to a brilliant orange. As it evolves, Shinagawa-kun's scales get more defined and larger too. If you remember the scenes from the film, during the evolution, we even saw some heat radiating from its fins. This is a clear indication that Shin's transformation required a lot of energy and produced a lot of heat. The mutation has further shortened and closed its gills, indicating that this form is adapted to breathe on land. Fourth form. Height 389 feet, length 1,092 feet. Now you'll instantly realize that the fourth form of Shin Godzilla is straight up horrifying. The final film form of the terrifying monstrosity is fairly similar to other traditional forms, being fully bipedal with a fully grown row of dorsal spines and a much taller height in contrast to his previous form. Interestingly, Shin Goji's head lacks basic anatomical features like cheeks and lips, although what he doesn't lack is in the tooth department. As we saw, the fourth form has many rows of jagged, twisted teeth that bulge in and out of the flesh around his mouth. He has a prominent nose with enormous circular nostrils, small, white, seemingly lidless eyes, and a jawline that extends to the sides of his head. Another remarkable feature is that his lower jaw is comparable to that of a snake, and in addition to opening widely to more than an alarming 90 degrees, it can split open when Godzilla utilizes his infamous atomic breath during the film, which of course was absolutely devastating, perhaps even catastrophic. As for the other features, Kamakura-san, as fans call him in this form, sports a considerably darker black skin tone, with crimson glowing highlights around exposed regions of the body like his neck, back, and legs. Shin's arm-to-body ratio is something to be noted too, because those small arms barely reach out past his chest and remain mostly immobile in the film, other than a few finger movements. Unlike most Godzillas before him, this Godzilla's tail is extremely long and hangs around and above his head at times. Fifth form. Now, Form 5, while still speculative, does actually have some basis in what was seen on screen. It was speculated that Godzilla would shrink and grow wings, and a deleted scene in the movie where they analyze Godzilla's genetic material from his blown-off dorsal spine shows Godzilla can replicate through any matter separated from itself. An adaptation to the Yashiori compound is implied by the ending of the movie. We've seen what Form 5 looks like, not what it can do. So then, looks-wise, Godzilla's fifth form has a humanoid appearance, with Godzilla-like dorsal plates running up their spines. Models for the evolution indicate that they lack eyes, despite the fact that the concept image for the design originally had them having them, and that a vast schism runs along their head. The humanoid forms, like their preceding form, lack muscle and appear malnourished, with a big hole in their chests. They basically look like creatures and possibly xenomorphs from Scott Ridley's Alien series rather than a Godzilla. Sixth form. So, coming to the sixth form, we see Shin expanding into either a mass of flesh that spreads across the world, or a bunch of humanoids that then branch off into the world-colored flesh. According to theories, Shin would lose his body entirely and become a mass of flesh like a Lovecraftian entity that would be free from the requirements of air and water to survive. It's further proposed that the already OP form would have accomplished endless nuclear fusions and solved energy problems to finally achieve self-energy productions. Eventually, this entity, that's basically hypothesized to be Shin Goji's sixth form, would finally invade outer space and reach other planets, leading to its mutation into the next form. Seventh form. The proposed seventh form would then see Shin Godzilla mutate into an intelligent being and develop a hive mind. Shin would then become a being close to achieving singularity that would expand and further transform itself to infect entire galaxies. The cosmic entity Shin may evolve into being able to synthesize almost every material and element at will to make them its own. It would even develop adaptations to adjust itself according to the conditions of the various environments, planets, and galaxies, no matter how harsh they may be. That brings us to the final proposed form, and that is the eighth form. Here, Shin Godzilla would literally just expand into a whole new universe by transcending all physical laws and breaking the barriers of reality to finally achieve singularity. In other words, Shin would basically attain immortality and reach the level of God, the alpha and omega of his own universe. Shin would be omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, basically a god of creation, a giver and taker of life itself. So what I mean is, at that point, Shin Godzilla wouldn't even be Godzilla anymore. It'd just be Stanley Kubrick and Cronenberg presents God. This was the eighth and final form, at least on paper. And to be honest, Shin Godzilla's evolution still fascinates me to this very day. And on that note, we've unfortunately come to the end of this video too. We hope that you liked the video as much as we love making it. Thanks for watching it. Do let us know about your own Shin Godzilla theories in the comments below if you have any. We'd love to have discussion on that. Now, for more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to Factaholic and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.